Greetings and welcome to my first ever, but certainly not the last, English video on this channel. If you're new here, I mean, you're probably new here. My name is Zach, and welcome to my channel Holocron, where we review and talk about, generally, wristwatches and fragrances. So this is my first ever English video, like I said, certainly not the last. And today we're going to be reviewing the Steinhart Ocean One 39 GMT Premium 500 ceramic. Very long name, so we're just gonna call it the Steinhart. So how my reviews generally go. First, we're gonna switch perspectives, take a closer look at the watch, the specifications, dimensions, etc. And then we're gonna come back here, talk about positives and negatives, and overall, what is my opinion of the watch, and is it worth a buy? So, before that, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my San Martin Vintage Diver, a wonderful little watch from AliExpress. It's so good. Review of this watch coming very soon. But now let's switch perspectives, take a closer look at this watch, then we're gonna come back here and talk about positives and negatives, etc. Okay, before you take a look at the actual watch, let's first see the packaging. So more or less every single Steinhart watch today comes in this black faux leather box with the Steinhart logo on top. And you simply open it up, and here you would have your watch on this pillow, and we have the sponge. And behind it, you usually have some additional paperwork like the user manual, which is also a guarantee card. And because I bought my watch from no1watches.com, we have this little thank you card, which is very useful because you can use it to measure your look widths, which is pretty cool. So very nice packaging. I like it a lot. It's pretty cool of Steinhart to include such a nice box. But we're not here to look at the packaging. We're here to look at the watch, and here's the star of the show. The Steinhart Ocean One 39mm GMT Premium 500 ceramic. Now let's start up with the dimensions of the watch. So the watch has a 39mm diameter, a case thickness of 13mm, that's including the domed sapphire crystal, the lug width of 20mm, and a lug to lug distance of 47mm. The actual case of the watch and the bracelet are all made of 316L stainless steel, which is pretty much standard in this price category, I believe. When it comes to the finishing, we have polished sides and brushing on top. The crown is at 3 o'clock. It has a signed crown. It's signed with the Steinhart logo, and it's a very nicely signed crown, if I do say so myself. And it has crown guards to protect the crown from any potential bumps or hits. And the crown is screwed down, so you can unscrew it to set the watch, and then when you're finished, screw it back in so you can get your water resistance. Please make sure your crown is screwed back in properly before you go swimming. Don't get water into your watch, please. The bezel itself is a ceramic two-tone bezel. It's black and blue. And it's a unidirectional 120 click bezel. The clicks are very nice and firm. Maybe let's hear the clicks. So yeah, it's a very nice bezel. Let's try to align it as best as we can for my OCD's sake. And also the bezel doesn't have any backplate, which is also a big plus. And on the bezel we have our markers for the GMT function. We have the 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. And all the markers are actually loomed. How the loom looks, we will look at that part just a little while later. When it comes to the crystal, like I already said, it's a domed sapphire crystal. It's a beautiful domed sapphire crystal with AR undercoating. And how will we make sure that it's a sapphire crystal? Well, we're going to use our Diamond Selector 2 tool. And with it, we will check if it's a sapphire crystal or not. If any of these turn yellow, that means this is in fact a sapphire crystal. And if you want, you can buy this Diamond Selector 2. I'll leave a link in the description below, and it's an affiliate link, so I will get a small percentage of the sale, but the price for you would remain the same anyway. So let's put it on the actual crystal itself. And will it show us yellow? Of course it will. So it's a sapphire crystal, which is wonderful. What does that mean? Well, basically it means it's virtually impossible to scratch. Now let's take a look at the dial. So on the dial we have the classic Rolex marker. So we have the 12 triangle at the top, batons on the 9 and 3 o'clock, and the date complication at the 6 o'clock, and the rest of the markers for hours are circular. And we also have a chapter ring inside. All the markers are loomed, as well as the hands, the second, minute, hour, and GMT hand, which is in blue. They are all loomed. So let's take a look at the loom. And as you can see, the loom is fantastic on this watch. The loom in question is BGW9 loom, and it will last you basically all night. Also, at the 12 o'clock, we have the Steinhart logo And then at the 6 o'clock, we have Ocean 39 GMT 500 meters. So a lot of text, and also down there we have Swiss made at the date. So a lot of text, but I personally don't mind it. I like my dials with text. I think most people prefer there to be less text, but for some reason, I like it. And now let's take a look at the case back. It's a see-through case back where we can see the actual movement of the watch. And before we take a look at the movement closely, let's see what else it says on the case back. So we have Ocean 39 GMT Premium 500, Swiss automatic, sapphire crystal, made by Steinhart stainless steel. So yeah, it's a very, very nice case back, and it's a sapphire case back, and it shows us our beautifully decorated movement. The movement in question is an ETA 2893. The ETA 2893 beats at 28,800 beats per hour. It has 38 hours of power reserve, and it has hacking, hand winding, as well as the GMT and date complication. Also, what we can see with this particular movement is a fine level of decoration. So we have a gold Steinhart rotor, as well as blued screws, and I believe these screws are thermally blued, they're not just painted blue. And as well, we have some perlage on the movement as well. So it's a beautiful movement. I really love looking at this movement tick. And now let's see how you can actually use the functions of the watch. So, like I said, you unscrew the crown. When you unscrew it, you can manually wind the watch, but the manual winding is very quiet. Let's listen. I mean, I'm not sure if you can even hear anything, but I am manually winding it. When you take it to the first position, you can set the date by rotating the crown downwards. And when you rotate the crown upwards, you can move your GMT hand in 1 hour increments. And when you pull the crown to the second position, the second hand stops, so it hacks, and we can set our time. And as you can see, the GMT hand is slave to the hour hand, so it will rotate once every 24 hours. So when we finish setting up our watch, we can just put everything back into position and screw the crown back in to get that water resistance back. Of course, it would be a lot easier to do if I wasn't recording. So yeah, that's pretty much how that works. You just screw the crown back inside. That's pretty much it when it comes to the watch. Now let's take a look at the bracelet. So the bracelet is a 3-link oyster style bracelet with nice brushing all the way through. And it has a milled clasp. Well, it's kind of milled. This part is tamped at the clasp. It has 4 micro adjusts. And the way you close it is you just click this part, and it has the Steinhart logo engraved in it. And how to open it? Well, just take this part up, and that's pretty much it. So like I said, 4 micro adjusts, and as well, we have half links, which is amazing. By the way, links are solid and links are also solid. They have female end links, which is amazing, so it'll fit even nicelier on your wrist, and they are screw pins, so you have screws holding them in, which is also very good. And finally, the last thing we need to see is how it actually wears on my wrist. By the way, I have a 6.75 inch wrist. So let's see how this wears on me. I mean, I know how this wears on me, but for you to see how it looks. And as you can see, the watch fits me just perfectly. It's a very nice watch indeed. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the watch close up. Now let's go back in our first perspective and summarize the positive and negative signs, and if this watch is actually worth your purchase. Alrighty, and that was the watch close up. So now let's discuss the positives and negatives, and overall let's come to the conclusion if this watch is worth your money. Starting off with the positives, and there are many positives to be had about this watch. First off, the size. 39 mil diameter, 13 mil thick, a wonderful size. I personally prefer smaller watches anyway, the more classic size, if you will. So this watch is perfect for me. However, keep in mind, due to the long to luck distance, that this watch wears slightly bigger. It wears more like a 40 mil watch than a 39, but that's not so much of a difference. I think all wrist sizes will be able to carry this watch. Next is the crystal. Sapphire crystal is always a plus in my book. Excellent scratch resistance. It also has AR undercoating, which is great because when you look at it in direct sunlight, you will be able to tell the time easier. There won't be any reflection going on. And with that, it's also slightly domed, so the watch looks even cooler. And the biggest plus, in my opinion, is the movement. This watch has the ETA 2893, which is basically an ETA 2892 with the added GMT complication. So this watch is time tested. It's been around for decades. Any semi-competent watchmaker should be able to service this movement. There are plenty of spare parts available. And also another plus, because it has a display case back, you can actually see the very well decorated movement with the golden rotor, the perlage, blue screws, etc. So that's very, very, very good. And this watch also has a very precise movement for me. It's plus 4 seconds a day. However, keep in mind that Steinhart today, I think, doesn't really offer ETA movements in their watches anymore. They offer Sellita movements. So for example, if you got this watch, it would be an SW330 movement, but it's basically like an ETA. So whatever I say for the ETA also stands for the Sellita movement. Next positive is the lume, BGW9 lume on the hands, indices, and on the bezel. This watch actually glows like a night lamp. So this watch has the best lume in my whole collection. Beautiful, beautiful lume. It lasts all throughout the night, so that's a very big plus as well. Next plus is the bracelet. So it has solid links, solid end links, a milled clasp. Truth be told, this part is tan, but I think that's okay. Based on the price, it has a lot of micro adjusts, and the best part of all, it has half links, so you can very precisely adjust the bracelet to your wrist. Because personally, I don't like watches that are too loose or too tight, logically. So this watch is actually, I'm able to get a perfect fit with this watch thanks to the half links. So that's awesome. Next positive, well, this isn't necessarily a positive, but I guess I could put it in. The fact that this watch is Swiss made, because a lot of people still care if a watch is Swiss made or not. Keep in mind though that to say a watch is Swiss made today doesn't really matter all that much, because I think like 40% of the parts can be outsourced from other countries, usually from China. So this isn't like 100% a Swiss made watch, but still technically it is Swiss made. So I guess that's a plus for some people. The water resistance is also plus 500 meters, so you don't have to worry about water at all if you screwed in the crown properly. And there's no backplate on the bezel, so that's also a plus. So basically, I would say that this watch is a perfect travel watch with the ceramic bezel and sapphire crystal, so you don't have to worry about scratches. With the water resistance, you don't have to worry about water, and you can track 3 different time zones. Perfect, perfect, perfect travel watch. However, as with every watch, there are also some negatives. I personally found 3 negatives. The first negative, well, it's not a negative for me per se, but it's a negative for some people. It's the fact that this is an homage watch. So this is an homage to the Rolex GMT Master 2 Batman. Although it's not like, I don't know, Pagani Design or, I don't know, San Martin or Kronos, which has a very, very similar design to the Rolex, let's just say like that, very close to it being a replica. This watch has its own style. If you would put this watch next to a GMT Master 2, you would notice a lot of differences, and you would actually see that this watch has its own look per se. But still, I guess some people would say homage watches are copies, so this is a negative due to that reason. Next negative side is the fact that this bezel, while it has excellent action and it has quality clicks, it's still a unidirectional bezel, which is more accustomed to diver watches. If this watch had a bidirectional bezel, as all GMT watches should have, this watch would be absolutely perfect in my book, but unfortunately it still has a unidirectional bezel, so that's a fault. And also another thing you have to note, when you first buy Steinhart watches, the bezel action, it's very, very stiff, so it's very difficult to move. I mean, now it's not so bad. With time, it's getting looser and looser, so that's okay. But when you first get it, it's very, very, very difficult to move. But I mean, that problem goes away within a couple of weeks. So, but I still think I should put it as a negative, just so you don't think that your watch has issues. No, it's just something that happens with literally every single Steinhart you get. And yeah, overall, this watch is a 10 out of 10 for me. I would highly, highly, highly recommend you get this watch. If you're having second thoughts, don't. You will not be disappointed. It looks great, it feels great, it's high quality, and yeah, this is one of my favorite watches in my collection, and it's been so ever since I got it. I think I wear this watch most often in my collection right now. So yeah, if you like this video, leave a thumbs up. There will be more English videos in the future, don't worry. If you didn't like this video, leave a thumbs down and maybe type in the comment section what you would like me to improve, because I want to improve my content for your pleasure and enjoyment. Subscribe if you want to see more videos about wristwatches or fragrances. There will be more in English in the future. That's pretty much it. I hope to see you again in the next video.